Good morning, folks, and welcome back to When the Dust Settles. My name is Pico Conway, and today we're going to discuss the PAM African Parliament. The PAM African Parliament was established or created in 2004, after the 2 years after the creation or after the African Union restructured itself from the Organization of African Unity to AU. And the Pan-African Parliament, which is based in Nedron, South Africa, is supposed to serve as the continental voice for the continent. Unfortunately, 2 decades later, the Pan-African Parliament is still like the idea that was first envisioned by Kwame Nkrumah. They are not making any progress, or they have made minimal progress. It is just a talking shop, as some experts describe it. Today we want to talk about the elections that just took place on April 30th, 2026. A new leadership was established, or new leadership was elected. Fattah Bubik from Algeria. First, I just want to point out that this is the first time that North Africa has held that role, the presidency of the Pan-African Parliament, PAP. And Fattah Bubik, he's an international law expert, advocate, and you name the rest. He's from Algeria in North Africa, and he's the current head. They have to serve as PAP leaders from 2026 to 2029. He's replacing a guy from Zimbabwe, Fortune Charumbira, I think that's his name, but I'll put his name on there for you to really know his pronunciation. I'm sorry if I chew the guy's name up. But the Pan-African Parliament is just a talking shop, and Bubik wants to ensure that the Malibu protocol is rectified. The Malibu protocol is to make the Pan-African Parliament, Africa legislature, to make laws, to negotiate trade policy, not just for one country, but for the entire Africa. That's what he wants to do. And that's what he's advocating for. His agenda is aligned with the African Union Agenda 2063 to see Africa unite under one umbrella. But that's going to take a lot of work. While preparing for this show to discuss the Pan-African Parliament, I did a research on the United States too, and similar problems where the Continental Congress was so weak they could not even pass any laws, similar to what the African Union is currently where the African Union currently finds itself when it comes to the PAP. But after the, I think 1787 Shah Rebellion, where soldiers that came from battle could not get jobs, they were not paid, they were heavily indebted, and then the state wanted them to pay the debts in hard currency, gold and silver, and you name the rest. So there was a rebellion. So what happened? Massachusetts formed its own militia to quell the rebellion, where the federal government was impotent, to use that word. So that raises fear in the federal government that the experiment of a centralized government was failing. And just to backtrack a little bit, we'll talk about the PAP, and then we'll talk about the Congress of O. The government of O in the United States was weak because states didn't want to pay their contributions. States sent members to Congress, and whenever states got angry, they didn't pay the dues to Congress or pay the dues to the United States until leaders across the country came together and established a strong constitution that brought all the states along. I'm saying this to say that the Pan-African Parliament is evolving. but we wanted to move a little bit faster. Now, under the Malabo Protocol, the 2014 Malabo Protocol, the Pan-African Parliament is to be like the European Parliament, make laws, discuss treaties, and do other things that a parliament do. But right now, it is just a talking shop. They are consultative. They don't even have any say on AU budget. They don't even make laws. And the members are not even directly elected. So how members get to PAP? Members, every country, every member state in Africa send 5 members to PAP. 5 members who are not appointed. They are selected from their parliament. So let's use Liberia as an example, or let's use Nigeria as an example, or let's use Africa as an example, or let's use Morocco as an example. So out of the parliament of Morocco, they will select 5 persons who will be sent to PAP. Those 5 people are paid by their state government, not by the PAP, not by the AU. The AU give them allowances and other stuff, but they are paid by the host country. So you can see the dependence right there. Once they are not paid by the AU, they can't make any laws that these states are going to adhere to. And similar thing will happen in the United States. So I will put a breakdown or duty photo or diagram up to how the United States too went through the same problems that the Pan-African Parliament is currently going through. So whenever all 26 countries ratify the Malabo Treaty, which was established in 2014, then the PAP is going to be a real parliament where they can, debate laws, debate and pass laws, budget and other things, do other legislative functions. Unlike let's look at the PAP in conjunction with the European Parliament, right? The European Parliament, the members are full-time, they are paid, they get to make 8,000 euro per month plus other incentives. So they are working for Europeans, right? They are working for Europeans. They are making laws for Europeans or member states of the EU. And the African Union is just similar to, in some aspects now, to the European Union. So we as ordinary Africans, my plea to people now is for us to call our lawmakers to rectify the Malabo Protocol so that African Parliament can transform from the current status in to something that can represent African voice on the continental level. But under the PAP, there are a lot of things involved. Right now, out of the 5 members that are selected from their home countries, 1 has to be a female. Under the Malabo Protocol, if it's ratified by 28 member countries, out of the 5 members that will be elected, 2 has to be women. 2 has to be women. So you can see the progress that can be made by us or rectifying this protocol. We need to have a continental force. We need to have laws that everybody from across the African continent can adhere to. But the separation is still going on. It's still going on. Everybody is so, we are so individualistic to an extent that we don't even want to do things that we agreed to do. Just a few days ago, and I make a video about that Kenya president, current president, William Ruto said that African Union in its current form was not fit to lead the continent in the future. And we gave some of the reasons he gave. He said that he is clearly taxing with the responsibility of designing ways to make the organization or the union stronger. And you're calling on the private sector, or calling on intelligence officer, think tanks in Africa, to all come together and give their idea on how to move the thing forward. I agree with what he said. But I think over the past 60 plus years, since 1963, or 70 plus years, that's 80 plus years, there have been a lot of proposals, suggestions on how to move the African Union forward. We need to enforce the rules. We're talking about the Malibu Convention right now. Why is it still sitting there? Why is it not implemented? I hope the new leadership will make tours to various parliaments across the country, across the continent, and urge them to sign the Malibu Protocol so that we can have institutions that work. We have institutions that serve the people. We don't have institutions that just in name, that just symbolic, like the Pan-African Parliament. Consultative. We want something that is legislative in its form and in the work they do that is empowered. We cannot be at the same level year in, year out. Folks, call your legislators and urge them to be more forceful when it comes to African unification. This is a fight that people have been fighting for a very long time. It is time for us to see progress made. And that is why I said when the African Union came into force, make some reforms after 1963, the Organization of African Union, the same argument was had between Gaddafi and Thabo Mbeki. Gaddafi has always pleaded that Africa should be one under one political authority. But Thabo Mbeki then went for the same old argument. And that old argument get a lot of people who support it because African countries are trying to protect sovereignty. They're going to call for leaders. I hope that this is not just something that Ruto was saying because he wanted to gain fame, but I hope it's something he wants to do. Kenya is one of the powerful countries in Africa. We expect to see Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Ethiopia, Uganda, Democratic Republic of the Congo, those big countries in Africa, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria. They have to move Africa forward. They have to move Africa forward from the way we support the African Union to the way we want Africa to move forward. They have to do the heavy lifting. Because these four countries, or 5-6 countries, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, this Democratic Republic of the Congo, this country have the population of the continent. They have to move forward. They have to move the continent forward. They have to design a different way to finance the organization, the African Union. The volunteer way they're doing it is not going to cut it. We got to find a more reliable way, more sustainable way to form the African Union and the PAP so that it works for us. Folks, my name is Pico Conway. If you want an in-depth analysis about what happened across the African continent, please subscribe to this country, to this channel. Because Africa will move forward. But we all have to get involved. We have to call our leaders. We have to urge them to do those things that move our continent forward. If keep dragging or kicking the can down the road, it's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. The Pan-African Parliament has to work for us, but it has to do it. It can do it only when we are willing to give it the power it needs. It can do it when we are willing to finance this organization. We cannot have an organization that is depending on Europe, Great Britain, France, America, Japan. Why should Africa be dependent? 1.4 billion people live on the continent of Africa. We depend on Japan. We depend on UK, United States of America. Our population is 5 times out of the United States of America. Africa. We depend on India. Why we have to depend on other people? It is now time for us to look within. I know that the PAP is evolving, but it's now time for us to move with some urgency. I want to see this thing come to fruition before I die. I'm 57 right now. Been following African politics since I was a teen. And the same argument that was being made is still being made today. It is not time for us to move forward. The PAP election is a great first step. We hope those that are elected will move out of Major South Africa and visit Liberia, Ghana, Ethiopia, Sierra Leone, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Algeria, Morocco, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Rwanda, and talk to the parliament and tell them to pass these laws, these protocols, so that Africa can move from the state it's in right now and be somewhat different. It is now time for action. The election is one thing, but implementation of what you say you're going to do is another thing. Folks, my name is Pico Kanwe. If you found this analysis insightful, please don't forget to smash that like button. Until next time, I will talk to you about the African Union, about things that they are doing, and how we can get involved. One of the ways we can get involved is to write your lawmakers, write your president, and tell them that anything that African Union doing, tell them they got to form the African Union in a more reliable way. Tell them they got to pass the Malibu protocol so that we have a continental legislature that work for us. Until next time, when the dust settles, the real story is just beginning. Folks, my name is Pico Kanwe. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.